Hello, and welcome to the Texas Association for College Admissions Counseling Virtual College Fair. We are so excited to have you participating in this event. We have some fantastic schools here with us today. My name is Daisha, and I will be your facilitator. Before we get started, a few housekeeping items for you. First, your camera and your microphone are off. Our panelists will not be able to see or hear you. However, you can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time, and they can respond to you directly. This is one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the schedule on the website for sessions happening today, as well as sessions happening tomorrow. This presentation is being recorded and it will be available at strivescan.com/Texas. I would now like to turn it over to our first presenter, the University of East London.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Caitlin Banania, and I am the International Recruitment Officer here at the University of East London. As you can tell by my accent, I am not British, I am American. I actually graduated from the university, and I'm very excited to be here tonight to share my experience. Before I discuss studying at UEL, I first want to discuss what it's like to study in London. So this quote says, "When a man is tired of London, he is tired of life." And I love this quote because I think it captures the beauty and the essence of London. I've lived in London for 4 years now, and I still haven't done everything that there is to do in London. And I don't think there are that many places in the world that can give you that. So I think London will forever be one of my favorite places in the world because of that. So this is a photo of our Docklands campus. We've got 3 campuses all based in East London. The Docklands campus is our main campus. As you can see, it's set in the suburbs. So we benefit from having a train station right on campus, which makes it super convenient to travel to the rest of London. I love our location because it's not set in the super busy parts of London. You won't see any tourists there. So I love it because you get the best of both worlds. We are one of the only London universities with on-campus accommodation, so our students get to wake up to that gorgeous view, and I'll talk a little more about accommodation in the next few slides. So here I've listed the biggest reasons why I chose to study in the UK. The biggest difference between studying in the US versus studying in the UK is that you can graduate in 3 years instead of 4. That's not because we take a 4-year degree and squish it into 3 years. It's because general education actually is not a requirement in the UK like it is in the US. Hence the reason why you graduate in 3 years instead of 4. UEL is one of the largest international universities in the UK. We've got 17,000 students, 20% of which are international students. We're ranked first in the UK for international support and visa advice. So what that means is you'll have a member of the international office supporting you from the point that you submit your application all the way up until you actually arrive in London. And we also accept FAFSA loans. We have 6 schools within the University of East London. You can find all of our courses on our website. Our biggest programs for American students are business management, psychology, as well as biomedical science. Here I've listed a photo of our accommodation. So on the left-hand side, you will see what our dorm looks like at UEL versus the right-hand side, which is the typical American dorm. I love talking about accommodation. When I was a student, I lived on campus and I absolutely loved it because all of our rooms on campus are private and en suite, meaning you get your own room and your own bathroom. So I absolutely loved having my own room and my own bathroom. I only had to share the kitchen, and I only shared between 3 and 5 students each year. Accommodation starts at $8,000 per year, and meal plans are not compulsory since you do have your own kitchen. We've also got grocery stores that are in walking distance of the university, so you are more than welcome to buy your own groceries and cook your own meals. I won't go into what dorm life is like in the United States because I'm sure that's self-explanatory. So here I've listed a general overview of what it's like to study at UEL versus studying at a typical American college. So it's free to apply, which means you've got literally nothing to lose. You can find us on the Common App. We do rolling admission, which means we aim to send you your decision between 4 and 6 weeks. The deadline to apply is the end of July. However, I recommend applying sooner rather than later. As I said earlier, the duration is 3 years in length. Tuition for the first year is just under $20,000 US, and that includes the cost of textbooks. So that brings the total cost of your tuition for your entire degree to just under $60,000 US, and which is quite affordable when you are comparing it to most colleges in the United States. I won't go through what it's like studying in America because I'm sure you guys are all very well aware of what it's like to study here. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact my team. Unfortunately, I am not able to stay for the entirety of the session, so I will list my contact details in the chat below. I will hand things back over to Daisha. Thank you very much.
Thank you, University of East London. Our next institution presenting is King's College London.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am also going to share my slides. All right. I think everyone can see that now. My name is Ashley Monahan. I represent King's College London. So located just a little bit to the west from the University of East London in the center of the city. Please note the QR code on the slide there to scan if you want to get more information about King's. And while I give you some time to do that, I also want to mention that this image here has a photo of London. Whether or not you've been to the city before, surely you could recognize the River Thames, the House of Parliament, Big Ben, the London Eye. And then you can see one of our campuses on King's, which is our Strand campus located at the forefront of the slide. And that is just north of the River Thames. It's one of our 5 campuses. So we're not a single site campus. We do have 5 spread out across the center of the city. One of those is just 3 miles south. And I'll show you a little bit more information about our campus layout and how we fit into the landscape of central London. But I was basically just stalling so that I could give you time to scan the QR code. All right, so without further ado, let's talk a little bit more about the history of King's. We were founded in 1829 as one of the founding colleges of the University of London. We were founded by King George IV, who was king at the time, and the Duke of Wellington, who was the prime minister at the time, hence our name, King's College London. And now, almost 200 years later, we are ranked as one of the 35 best universities in the world, 7 in the UK, 3 in London. So if rankings are important to you, and they are to some people, I would encourage you to look into this and see what criteria goes into rankings. And of course, QS is just one of many. And today we are a Russell Group institution, which means we are part of 24 public research universities in the UK that emphasize research. And we are proud to say that as undergraduate students, you can graduate with a portfolio in research, and you can have a lot of experiential hands-on opportunities within research. And because of all of this, and then some, 93% of our graduates are in employment or are furthering their education upon graduating from King's. So when we think about this return on investment, time investment, financial investment, we can actually put a number on that, a percentage, and that is 93%, which is very important to those of you who are joining us from overseas, of course. So you can really think about that in terms of what that means for your future. And on campus, we have a very vibrant student population. We have 36,000 students, 16,000 of whom are international, representing 185 countries. So we have about half of our student population represented as international, and about 1,200 of those join us every year from the US. So pretty good representation in our international population. We like to think of this diversity and our multicultural campus community as very reflective of the city of London itself, which is a city of 9 million people, and of course, very, very diverse. We also like to have fun. So part of our campus community are ways that you can get involved on campus. And we do recommend joining our Students' Union, and whether or not you actively join it, you are a member of the Students' Union when you are enrolled when you are enrolled at King's. And however much or little you want to get involved is entirely up to you, but you will be sitting in classrooms in your faculty for 3 years at the undergrad level with a lot of the same people. So it's nice to kind of get outside that bubble and meet people through different activities and societies, sports clubs, things like that. We also have a very large global alumni network, 10,000 strong. What that means to you is when you graduate from King's, you can potentially lean on this alumni network and go overseas to further your education, get a job. You can stay in the UK for up to 2 years after graduating if you pursue the graduate route visa, which is a fairly straightforward process to transfer from your student visa. So lots of different mobility options for you as a prospective student and someone who would be interested in, again, thinking about your future beyond graduating from King's. Very similarly, we are also a 3-year undergraduate program, which is the case for most English universities. You do have to apply via UCAS. It's the only way that you can apply to our undergraduate programs. We accept FAFSA. We do have some limited international student scholarships available to you, but here on this slide are our 9 faculties, and there are 175 programs that sit within those faculties. Very popular to US students are those within arts and humanities, business, psychiatry, social science, and then of course our most competitive programs and what we're known for are life sciences and medicine, law, business, dentistry, nursing. Our natural and math sciences faculty is actually now called natural, maths, and engineering sciences because of how popular engineering has become, and I'll also say computer science sits within that faculty as well. For US undergraduate students, you are looking to either submit, if you're an AP student or an AP curriculum, you have one of 3 options, 5 APs or 3 APs and the ACT or 3 APs and the SAT. We are not test optional. If you are not an AP student, not an IB student, and you have more of a homegrown curriculum at your school, I would encourage you to apply if you are a high achieving student, and I can have conversations with your counselor around that if you kind of want to know how I define high achieving student. But again, we do assess on a case by case basis. We're test flexible, but any questions about that, let me know because the requirements do vary by program. And last but not least, I do want to show you the slide of London and how King's, our 5 campuses, fit within the center of the city. I want to mention that we have about a dozen residence halls and guarantee accommodation for first-year students, and also they are single occupancy rooms. And going back to QS, London was voted the best student city in the world because of all of the resources that it provides to its student population, which is very unique to a city the size of London. I also have to jump off to another fair before we get to the Q&A, so I'll put all my details in the chat, but thank you again for your attention. And yeah, I'll hand it off to the next presenter.
Thank you, King's College London. Our next presenter is University of Stirling.
Thank you. I'm just going to share my slides. Hopefully you can all see that now. And now for something completely different. So we've covered 2 universities in London. I'm moving slightly up the country. So the UK is made up of 4 nations, and one of them is Scotland. So I'm going to talk a little bit about studying in Scotland and how that differs from studying in England and the 2 London universities we've covered tonight already, and I'll talk about my university. So let me introduce myself. I'm Ali Clark and I'm Head of Student Recruitment here at the University of Stirling. So the Scottish degree system is something that you will be very familiar with. It is a 4-year degree system and allows for a lot of flexibility. So it allows you to have the option to have a work placement. It allows you to have an ultra flexible program to start with before focusing in. It allows you the flexibility to transfer if you're at a community college, and you can also study abroad. So if you're not ready to study abroad for your entirety of your degree, you can study abroad at the University of Stirling for either a semester or for a year. And indeed, if you come and study with us and you want to study abroad somewhere else for the semester or a year, that is also an option because of the 4-year degree structure. We also allow for advanced entry. So if you do just want to study for 3 years, depending on your grades, you may be able to enter in the second year of the programme as well. So the size of the university, it's a 14,000 population, so it's very much a medium-sized university for a Scottish university, and it's a campus-based university, although we are extremely close to the city of Stirling. And I'll show you where Stirling is in a second. We've got about 120 different nationalities represented and quite a large North American population as well. And we're also known as Scotland's University for Sporting Excellence, having last year been voted the UK Sports University of the Year. But don't worry, if you're not sporty like myself, there's sport at all levels. But we do have some elite athletes. One of our recent Olympians, Duncan Scott, came back with Team GB with 4 medals for swimming, and he just graduated from us in the summer, so we're very proud of him. One of the other things that we're very proud of is the student satisfaction rate, and the National Student Survey is a survey voted for by students every year in terms of their learning, their teaching, their experience, and we're consistently in the top 20 in the UK for that. So this is where Stirling is. Obviously you can see where London is, but where the heart is where Stirling is. So we're very centrally located in Scotland. We're about 25 minutes away from Glasgow, where COP26 is just about to take place, and about 40 minutes from Edinburgh, which is the capital city of Scotland. We're actually the ancient capital of Scotland, and not a lot of people know that. And if you've watched the film Braveheart, although it's played by an Australian, it's about one of Scotland's national heroes. So we are very much in William Wallace country in Stirling. Like I mentioned, we're a campus-based university, and we're probably the most Scottish university possible. We've got our very own loch in the centre of the campus, which is Scottish for lake. We've got our own castle, and we've even got a 9-hole golf course as well. As well as having a student village with 2,000 rooms on campus, we've got a pharmacy, a medical centre, a dentist, a range of different shops, the sports facilities obviously, and a range of different eateries as well. So everything that you could possibly want is on campus. In terms of our flexible programme, we have 5 different faculties, but you can actually mix and match between the different faculties as well. So we have arts and humanities, things like journalism, film and media, history, as you would expect, health sciences and sport. We've got a number of new sports courses coming on board, like sports psychology and sports development and coaching. Natural sciences, we specialise in things like environmental sciences and marine biology. Social sciences, we're consistently one of the top for criminology in the UK. And last but not least, Stirling Management School has everything that you would expect from a business school. We are test optional, unlike King's, and we've confirmed that for 2022 entry as well. That came on board with the pandemic. We're looking for about a 3.0 GPA, but if you do have tests, these are the sort of grades that we're looking for. You will have to submit an academic reference and a personal statement as part of the process, but we do have different options. We would probably recommend that you use UCAS, which is a UK-wide application scheme, and means you can then apply to up to 5 different schools in the UK. We do offer the Common App at Stirling, but that means that you would be restricted to one university. You can also apply directly to Stirling as well as an option. We provide a wide range of scholarships, including sports scholarships, as you might guess, and we also accept FAFSA, and we have an administrator who deals with US financial loans as well. Tuition fees have been confirmed for next year, so they differ slightly based on whether they're a lab-based subject, so like a science-based subject, or a classroom-based subject. So you're looking about $21,000 to $25,000 per year. In terms of living expenses, Stirling is one of the least expensive cities to live in the UK, and it's very much a student city because about 20% of the population is made up of students. So there's lots of things for you on offer. In terms of accommodation, all rooms are single rooms, so you don't need to share with anybody. And we have a wide range of different accommodation to suit all budgets. Like I say, we've got a student village on campus, and we've got about another 1,000 rooms in the city of Stirling itself. If anybody wants to get in touch, you can use this, you can scan this QR code, or I will leave my details in the chat as well. And I'm going to pass back to Daisha.
Thank you, University of Stirling. Our next school presenting is the University of Sheffield.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining today. So my name is Tony Dolby. I am the Regional Manager for the Americas at the University of Sheffield. My contact details are on the screen, but I'll also pop them in the chat afterwards. So I'm going to talk to you today about why you should choose the University of Sheffield as a study destination. So the University of Sheffield is a leading global university. We are ranked within the World Top 100, and we're also a member of the prestigious Russell Group. We're in the top 10% of UK universities for research excellence. So what that means for you as a student, even if you wanted to come and do an undergraduate degree, is that you will be taught by leading experts within their field, and you will be contributing to the global challenges that we face today in the world, and that's what we want to address with our research. We're passionate about teaching excellence. So as I mentioned, we have world-renowned scientists, and we have technical innovators at our university, and by coming to our campus, you also have the opportunity to get involved in that research, both as an undergraduate and for later during your studies if you want to progress further. We're ranked 13th in the UK in the Times Higher Education World University Rankings, and we have around 29,000 students on our campus from over 150 different countries, so we are a really diverse university. As we are an excellent university for teaching and research, we have some Nobel Prize winners. So some of the ones that you might have heard of are Sir Richard Roberts and Harry Kroto, and Sir Hans Krebs, who invented the Krebs cycle. By choosing the University of Sheffield, you will be joining a long line of outstanding alumni that we've produced all the way from back in 1925, such as Amy Johnson, who was the first woman to fly solo from Britain to Australia, up to the present day, such as Dr. Amal Al-Kabasi, who was the first woman to be elected President and Speaker of the UAE Federal National Council. We also have a great alumni chapter within the US, so specifically for students for the US to help you make those connections, and they are really active if you wanted to, reach out to them and find out more. We have 50 departments across the university within the 5 faculties, so science, engineering, medicine, dentistry and health, arts and humanities and social sciences. And there's just a list of some of the subjects that you can study with us, and the really popular ones that we offer at Sheffield. Obviously, you can go on our website to find out more about the courses that we do offer. So by coming to study with us, you'll obviously have a great academic experience, and we want to help you get to where you want to go to within the world of work. So some statistics about our graduates. We are in the top 3 in Yorkshire and Humber for graduate prospects. We have the top 5, one of the top 5 career services in the UK as voted for by students, and 96% of our graduates are in work or further study within 6 months after graduation. And some of the companies that our graduates have gone on to work for include the Bank of America, Toyota, IBM, BAE Systems. So we have links with great companies from across the world that we can help you, get to where you want to be with them. And to help you do that, we have an amazing career service at the university that offer a whole range of services and facilities to help you enhance your employment experience, whether that be paid placements or volunteering or part-time work as a student while studying. We offer an outstanding student experience at the University of Sheffield, as we have had the #1 students' union in the UK for the last 4 consecutive years, with over 300 clubs and societies to join, whether that be a society based on your nationality or faith, a particular sport that you might be interested in, or something completely different such as a coffee lover society or a cake baking society. So you might be wondering where Sheffield is. It all sounds great so far, but I've never heard of it. So Sheffield is England's 4th largest city. So we're located in the north of England in the region of Yorkshire. Manchester Airport is about 45 minutes away, which is our closest international airport. And you can get to London from Sheffield on the train in 2 hours. So Sheffield is an amazing city. It was voted the most affordable student city in the UK in 2020-21 by the NatWest Student Survey. Sheffield offers a great mixture of city life with all of the typical amenities that you would expect, but we are within the Peak District National Park, which is about a 20-minute journey from the city centre, where you can be out in the typical British countryside, enjoying activities like hiking, mountain biking and climbing. So by coming to Sheffield, you've got that mixture of city life and being outdoors. You know, if you're stressed during exams, it's just a short drive away and you can be out in the open air. We host the World Snooker Championships every year, so we have many great events at Sheffield, and we also host a festival. And as I mentioned, there's many great places to meet the students. We offer scholarships for undergraduate students. So what we offered last year was scholarships that were with a 50% discount in your tuition fees. And we're also a FAFSA accredited school. Here's just a quote from one of our former US students, and she had one of the greatest times in Sheffield studying with us. If you do want to find out more, you can speak to our student ambassadors and chat to them directly using the link on the screen. And obviously, if you do want to get in touch with me, then my email address is on the screen, and you can also book a one-to-one appointment with me if there's anything that you want to ask privately about the University of Sheffield and find out more about this. So thank you for listening, and I will now hand back over for the next university.
Thank you, University of Sheffield. As a quick reminder, everyone, if you would like to share any questions with our panelists, please use the Q&A button on your screen to do so. I will now turn it over to Oxford Brookes University. I'm sorry, Siobhan, we don't have audio. No, could you have a headset or something plugged in?
Can you hear me? Is this okay now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. So hi, everyone. I'll start again. My name is Siobhan Frank. I'm the Global Recruitment Manager here at Oxford Brookes University. Like many of my colleagues here today, I help students from the US, Canada, and Mexico come to study in the UK. Again, you might recognize that my accent isn't initially from here, but I do live in Oxford. I moved here about 4 years ago. I was meant to only live here for 1, but I loved it so much that I've stayed ever since. Now, a little bit about Oxford. I'll tell you about the city itself and where we're located. So we are located in Oxford, which is in the United Kingdom. It's about an hour away from London and Heathrow. Now, over here on our left-hand side, you can see a map of the UK and Ireland, and you can see where we are. We're close to the southeast there, and we're nice and close to Heathrow and Gatwick. So those are probably going to be the 2 main airports that you would be flying into if you were traveling from North America over to Oxford. Now, Oxford itself is a beautiful, beautiful city. We've got 2 universities here in the city. You might recognize the name of Oxford, and that is because we share the city with another very famous university. So in the city, we've got Oxford Brookes University, and we have the University of Oxford. What that means is that we've got a really high student population here in the city. 1 in every 4 adults here are students. So it is very much a student-centric city and a student-friendly city. Now, Oxford itself is also a center for industry and enterprise. That is because there's a lot happening in and around the universities. There's quite a few startups that that kind of are start or begin as a result of the research that's going on in the city. So in addition to being in the heart of Motorsport Valley, we've also got major publishing houses here in the city, including the Oxford University Press, Wiley, Elsevier. We've got biotech, biomedicine here in the city as well, just to name a few. Now, as a student here at Oxford Brookes, you'll get access to what's called the Bodleian Library and the Oxford Union. These are actually resources at the University of Oxford, but we have a really good relationship between the two universities. So as an Oxford Brookes student, you'll be able to get access to those resources. Now, the Bodleian Library is a very large library system. If you look in the image here, in the middle image, you can see that large dome building. That's called the Radcliffe Cameron. That's one of the quintessential buildings that you'll see here in Oxford. If you Google the city, that's usually one of the first images that pops up. That is part of the Bodleian Library system. So it's a great complement to our library that we've got here on campus. Now, the Oxford Union is a debating society, but they also hold all sorts of really interesting events, including a very famous speaker series. So if ever you want to see some of the speakers that they've had in the past, you can just Google it. They've got a YouTube channel. But they've had anywhere from, famous actors, including Game of Thrones cast, they've had musicians, they've had world political leaders. So it's quite an interesting resource that you could take advantage of. Now, a little bit about Oxford Brookes. Our faculties, we've got 4 main faculties. We have the Oxford Brookes Business School, the Health and Life Sciences, Humanities and Social Sciences, and the Faculty of Technology, Design, and the Environment. Within that, we have a number of different schools and departments and a number of different programs. So some of our popular programs amongst our US applicants include, say, our motorsport engineering, psychology, we've got liberal arts, business and management, so quite a few different things that could be of interest as well. Now, over here on the right-hand side, I did mention that we do have our library here on campus. That is a picture of our library, and that's part of our John Henry Brookes building. It was recently redone. It's a beautiful building. It's very architectural, and that does carry through because we have a strong architecture program. So the ethos of great architecture carries through the campus. Now, why Oxford Brookes? It's more than just a ranking. So by coming to study at Oxford Brookes, you get to live and study in Oxford, which is a world famous city known for its rich history and education. You'll also get to gain the fundamental skills and global experience to succeed in your chosen career. So as some of my colleagues mentioned here today, in the UK, specifically England, courses run 3 years in length, or degree programs are 3 years in length rather than 4. But here at Oxford Brookes, we also offer an optional 4th year work placement year. So that's typically it sits between the 2nd and 3rd year of study. But by the time that you graduate in 4 years, you might have the opportunity of not only gaining your degree, but also getting a year's worth of international work experience as well. And that is a paid work placement. Now, you'll also get to experience a new country and a new culture and make some international friends. We have students from over 140 different countries here at Oxford Brookes. So it is very much an international friendly community as well. Now, as a student, you'll also get the support you need. Now, I won't go into too much detail about these supports, but these are just some of them. So we've got our Academic Development Center. They're really designed to help you meet your academic goals and standards. We have our Inclusive Support Center, including disability services, dyslexia, SPLD support. We have our individual and confidential counseling services available, our multi-faith chaplaincy, and our career service. So our career service is really great. They can help you get a job while you're studying, but also up to 3 years after you leave your degree. Now, we also have our mentoring schemes, which are really great. So again, you can access those as a current student and as an alum. Now, every student here has the option of also taking a free language module. So we do provide a wide range of foreign language classes here at the university. So for a full-time undergraduate and postgraduate students, you can take up to 1 free language module per year in addition to your studies. So really great. So say, for example, you wanted to do your work placement maybe in another country, or if you were keen to explore the possibility of maybe living somewhere else after you finish your studies, or if you just want to learn a new language, it's a really great opportunity there. So we do have languages in French, Spanish, German, Japanese, and Mandarin. So it's a really great opportunity as well. And those are free modules that you can add in addition to your regular studies. Now, in terms of entry requirements, fees, and funding, we are test optional. We accept a high school diploma from a 3.0 GPA. Some courses have subject-specific requirements, which can be met via grade 12 honors level courses and or APs. Our tuition ranges from about 14 to 17,000 pounds per year, and our work placement year is 15 to 2,000 pounds per year. We accept FAFSA, Veterans Loans Benefits, and Sallie Mae loans. Now I'll whiz through those. Most people have kind of talked about how to apply, but thank you very much for listening. If you do have any more questions at all, you can visit our website at www.brookes.ac.uk, or you can get in touch with me directly. I'm available via email. I'm also available by one-to-one appointments. So you can email me at sfrank@brookes.ac.uk. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Oxford Brookes. Our final institution presenting is American College Dublin.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all having a good night. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Oh, geez. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
While we wait for American College of Dublin to rejoin us, they're having some technical difficulties. Please feel free to send any questions you have for our presenters. Unfortunately, the University of East London and King's College London had to leave us, but our remaining schools will be able to participate in a Q&A before we wrap up tonight's event, but they can also answer direct questions using the Q&A. All right, so while we wait, if our other three schools don't mind joining me on video, we can jump into one of our Q&A questions and then allow American College Dublin to present when they come back. So the first question I have for you is, what advice would you give to someone going through the college search process, particularly those who are coming to the UK?
Do you want me to go first? As I presented first, yeah, okay. I would say in this, obviously this virtual world that we now find ourselves in, I would say that there's far more opportunities for people to do their research. There's virtual open days are becoming more commonplace, webinars, MOOCs, and it's your opportunity to speak to current students, speak to academics, and make sure that you're applying for the right courses and so that they're the right fit for you. The other thing that I would say before I go on, before I get my soapbox too much, is if you do apply through UCAS, the personal statement that you have to supply is very different from the personal statement style, essay style that you would submit for the Common App. So the Common App is more talking about the skills that you've got and achievements that you've got and the different things that you get involved in, and you can incorporate that in your personal statement, but it's much more academically focused. So the first paragraph really needs to grab the attention of the admission selector. Why are you interested in that subject? Rather than just talking about yourself, you need to sort of focus on why you're applying, what your motivations are for applying. I'll shut up now, sorry.
Hi everyone, yeah, I'll go next. I mean, I completely agree with everything that Ali has just mentioned. What I would say as well is, you know, in regards to reaching out to us, contact us as advisors and as people to get in touch with for the universities. It's our job to be here to help you. So, you know, do get in touch with us. We're more than happy to have chats, phone calls, because we want you to get the best experience and choose the right university for you. And yeah, I'd make sure that you do the research on the different schools that you might choose from, and look into the rankings if that is important to you, and consider different various ranking providers, as they will differ depending on the provider and what you're looking for. So yeah, just make sure that you look into those in detail and do as much research as you can.
Yeah, and I think building off a little bit of what Tony just mentioned as well is think about what it is that you want to get from your university experience. So if it is one where, you know, you want to go to a research school, certainly look at those rankings and look at the research schools. Or if you want to look at locations, do you have family or friends living somewhere in the UK that you want to be close to? So there's all sorts of different variables and factors as to why, or might influence why you might choose a particular school. Just keep your mind open, have a look at the different universities that we've got. The UK has plenty of great universities, so you won't go wrong in making a choice here.
Awesome. And speaking of making a choice about a university, what is one thing you would like students to remember about your university?
I suppose I should say sport, really. I mean, I think I'd probably be in trouble if I didn't mention sport. Yeah, like I mentioned, one thing I regret from my time at university is I never got involved in all the clubs and societies that, you know, Tony and Siobhan have talked about, you know. And it was because I wrongly assumed they were all to do with sport, because here's the secret, I don't actually like sport, and I work at Scotland's University for Sporting Excellence. But although I've talked about, like, you know, there's Olympians training there, there's different ranges. So there's beginners, people that are not necessarily big sport fans like myself. And there's a wide range of different sports, everything from octopush, which is underwater hockey, right the way through to, we've got an American football team, hockey, soccer, etc. So that's probably what you're going to remember about Stirling.
With regards to Sheffield, I would say that we are a really great university and a global university. I know that a lot of the institutions that you're probably going to see at the event today will have, you know, lots of different students. But I think Sheffield is a really welcoming and friendly city. And a lot of our international students do say that it's like a second home from home. And they really do fall in love with it. So I would say, obviously, we're giving you a great academic experience if you chose Sheffield. But also you'll have an amazing time outside of your academics if you came to study with us.
Yeah, and finally, from Oxford Brookes, I'd say flexibility and you know, the ability to prepare yourself for an international career. Certainly, so many of our programs offer that work placement opportunity too. So if you do want to gain that work experience, that's a really great option. And Brookes is really good at it. We've got a lot of teams here to support students to make sure that they're in placements, get good placements, can explore placements, you know, in areas that they're interested in working afterwards. So I would certainly say that flexibility and support around that work preparation.
Wonderful. Thank you all for sharing such awesome advice. I do apologize that we were not able to get American College Dublin back on board with us, but I thank you all for the awesome input you had to share with our guests. I am going to share my screen one more time since we are nearing the end of our session to share a few final remarks. So thank you to our panelists, but also thank you to our guests who are able to join us live. Thank you for those who are also watching later on demand. For our live viewers, when you close this window, there is a link to a very quick 5-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. I also encourage you to check back on the schedule and sign up for more sessions today, as well as sessions tomorrow. You'll be able to view the recording for this session, as well as all other session recordings at strivescan.com/. www.ushsd.edu/tips. Thank you once again, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.